Hey guys, it's JC. I'm back again this week, and I have to tell you, I've had a crazy week. Like life is just that way right now. But I my YouTube channel has been an adventure lately. I don't ever really have time to sit down and plan it out and script it out and have like, okay, I'm going to do this video and this one. And most of the time, what you're getting is me and the Lord saying, okay, like, Lord, what do you want to talk about this week? What do we need to talk about? What would bless us as women and men as we go through this health journey? And so my last video was on what is your body trying to tell you? Just a thought I'd had, just an idea that I kind of shared. I really thought we were kind of done. Thought I'd move on, I had some notes on my phone for a few things I could maybe look at. He wasn't done on that subject. And the reason I say this, I was reading something non-faith-based, something non-religious. I was reading Brene Brown's new book, Atlas of the Heart. If you don't know who Brene is, go check her out. Her work is so, so deep and important in our generation. So Atlas of the Heart, I'll put the link below. But I was just reading through her book, and it hit me like a Mack truck. Like I almost can feel the Lord smiling sometimes. Like, yeah, I had more to say on that. Let's go back to that topic. So if you haven't watched my last video on what your body is trying to tell you, especially the idea of the body sometimes being the forgotten middle child, as painful as that is, if you were a middle child, I'm sorry. It's just the idea that we will take care of everything else sometimes except the body and throw the body's needs under the bus time and time again to things that we think we value more. We just don't really care. So building on that, again, I'll put that link right below. If you haven't watched that video, go do that. So here's part 2. I'm reading along, enjoying her insights in her book, and I get to the very end of it. And she is quoting a writer named Prentice Hemphill. You can go look it up. It's page 261 in Atlas of the Heart if you want to find it. But she uses a definition, and what she was talking about doesn't really apply to what we do, what we've been doing on this channel. But boy, wait till you hear this. Prentice uses the term embodiment. And he describes it like this. Embodiment is, quote, the awareness of our body's sensations, habits, and the beliefs that inform them. Embodiment requires the ability to feel and allow the body's emotions. This embodied awareness is necessary to realign what we do with what we believe. Now, hang in there if this is confusing. Just a second. So we'll, sorry, I have a thing on my phone. We'll keep going. Listen to this one now. He defines disembodiment. Disembodiment is an unawareness, repression, or denial of our sensations and emotions, and or privileging our thinking over our feeling. Being in our heads instead of listening to what our body is trying to say. That's disembodiment, he says. Disembodiment often leads to an incongruence between the actions we take in the world and the beliefs that we hold. So I've been thinking a lot about this idea of embodiment, being in our body, listening, aware, feeling the emotions letting us feel the emotions that are happening, being connected to that, or being disembodied. And the reason this resonates with me is, as a sugar addict, as an emotional eater, I spent decades disembodied. Not listening to what my body needed at all, not caring because I wanted my chocolate. I needed it for 100 reasons. And I really didn't care what it did to the body. I didn't even think about it. I was such in denial of it. I'm not doing drugs. I'm not smoking. It's fine. It's just chocolate. Like, so in denial, so disembodied from what my body was trying to say. It finally had to speak loudly enough and cause enough health symptoms that it got my attention. But I spent so much time disembodied. But I thought it was interesting that those definitions that she highlights in the book talk about the incongruence between what we actually do and what we believe. And I've been thinking a lot about that because here's the thing. Let's go over some verses. As Christians, as believers, what are the foundational truths that we find in Scripture about the body? I was just thinking of a few, and some of them that I'm sure that I'm going to highlight. 1 Corinthians 3 and 6 both talk about the body as a temple. temple of the Holy Spirit. It's something we should have reverence and care for. It was created by God in his image, and this is a temple and should be treated with reverence. Romans 12, we are to offer our bodies as a living sacrifice. He doesn't say offer your souls, your spirit, your inner man as a living sacrifice. He says offer your bodies as a living sacrifice. And what can we offer to the Lord if it's a mess? The health is a mess, the blood sugar is a mess, the weight's a mess, the brain fog, the digestion, everything's just wrecked. We're not offering any kind of sacrifice to him. I thought of 1 Corinthians 10:31, whether you eat, drink, or whatever you do, do to the glory of God. So the beliefs are there, the foundational beliefs. We could even go into Daniel 1, and I've used that in other videos. We won't take the time today, but Daniel there's a whole story about Daniel being aware of what he ate affecting his spiritual life, affecting his ability to be who the Lord needed him to be. He was embodied, he was connected. So those are the foundational beliefs in the scriptures. But I've been thinking, you guys, so much about whether I actually believe those things back in the day when my diet was a wreck. And he's talking about when you're embodied, your beliefs match your actions, right? Man, I keep getting texts, sorry. So I was thinking, like, did I believe deep down that my body was a temple and I just wasn't acting in accordance with that because I was disembodied, I was emotionally eating, but the more I've thought about it, I think the beliefs that actually won in my belief system were the beliefs that food is a powerful soothing agent and I needed it in my life. Didn't care if it caused problems. That was the greater belief than the body is a temple. The foundational belief in my heart that won out was I need chocolate. And so my actions followed suit. I wasn't connected to what my body needed. My brain just said, my emotion said, I need chocolate. I need it to cope. I'm going to use it. So I was disembodied in that I didn't listen to what this needed as a temple, how I could care for the temple. I just had different foundational beliefs. So I can't say that I necessarily believed. Yes, if you had asked me and read that verse to me, I'm sure I would have said, yes, the body is a temple. Oh, and I don't smoke and I don't, I probably would have given you a list of some things that I do and I worked out, but I still wasn't fully embodied. And then you go to the definition of disembodiment. It's privileging our thinking over our feeling. Isn't that just fantastic, way to capture it? So the reason this has been really with me again this week, since we already talked about it, I saw a couple of different people in the clinic this week. It was interesting that I was reading this right at the same time. I could come across it, I think, the night before. And two people that day, very disembodied, both out of control diabetics, not being managed at all. And the body was screaming, sobbing, begging for relief. There were so many things going wrong. But I could see a disembodiment. I could just see it. And now that once I had read it from Brene, I was like, wow, that was me too. But it's interesting to have it presented in the office the very day after I read that. Both no awareness, no care that blood sugar was managed, just no understanding of what the body needed. And that disease was ravaging both bodies. And the health problems had got so out of control. It was almost overwhelming to me. It just broke my heart. I just thought, where do you even begin? Because it's just that poor body. If we're talking about a car, it was broken on the side of the road, and you don't just put a new battery in and keep driving when you're that far gone. It was just really hard. But again, no judgment, because my health hit rock bottom as well. When I became disembodied for that long, I didn't have a wake-up call until my health was so bad that I had to listen. But here's the other thing that struck me. Both people, and I just keep thinking this can't be a coincidence that this happened the day after I read this. Both people, it was just me and them, and I was doing some interviewing, talking through with their history. Both people shared deeply personal tragedy that they had been through in recent years and even far back. I mean, I'm not going to share details, but both people on the scale of hard to deal with, these were 10s, both things that these different people, I mean, just wrecked me just listening to their story. And so as I was laying in bed that night, I was like, that's why we get disembodied. At least one reason why is because being in your body and feeling the emotions and being connected to what's happening, sometimes when you are going through tragic, difficult, soul-wrenching things, isn't it easier to just disconnect? Just leave that body, get into our head, emotionally eat, do the things that'll soothe our mind, and just not even connect to the body, because then we have to feel the pain, right? And I thought back to my own experience, and while I didn't have anything comparable to their tragic circumstances, my worst point of being disembodied was when I was at the deepest, hardest part of motherhood plus depression. Really hard stuff going on as a mom with all the kids and depression, some anxiety. So there again, you just disconnect. It's too hard to feel those things, and so we become disembodied. I don't know, is that a weird word to use? But Brene used it. I thought it was just so profound in helping us as wherever you are on the scale. If you're an emotional eater, a binge eater, if maybe it's not those things. Maybe it's just you don't get enough sleep. You're sedentary. You don't ever move your body. You take too many prescription meds, and we won't get into all of that. But boy, the toxicity, the things that can happen if you're on a list. I see patients all the time with 7, 8, 9 medications and just trying to quiet the body instead of getting to the root cause and making some lifestyle changes. I mean, maybe you're living on caffeine and your adrenals are just shot and you just are just going through the motions, cut off from what your body is asking for. It could manifest it in so many different ways. But what if we're in that place where we've been disembodied? Life has been too hard to even give any emotional attention to that. The body has become the forgotten middle child. And how often do we not get our wake-up call until it's not too late? I mean, there always can be changes, but how many years have you been living in that state? Or have you? Maybe you'll figure out that, no, I listen to my body's signals and I pay attention. Or are you chowing down on the chips and salsa all day or eating until you've got a stomach ache or whatever without cluing in? I am the queen of doing something when I eat, reading, or I'm on my computer, and the Lord's been calling me out on it. He's been like that disembodiment, just something simple like that. It's like, JC, taste your food. Stop. You just ate that entire dinner in a disembodied state. You didn't even taste a bite of it. And he's trying to make me more aware. Just let your body enjoy the satisfaction and process that you're eating. Or you look down, it's gone, and you're like, wait, it's gone. I need more. So I'm still working on things where it's very easy to disconnect, and we do it as a coping mechanism a lot of times. But again, the Lord has said, when you eat and drink, you do it to the glory of God. When you approach the way you care for your body, you do it as a temple. I don't know if your faith tradition has some sort of cathedral or sanctuary or temple, or think of those buildings and the care that goes into them. My faith tradition does have temples, and they are exquisite. They are absolutely gorgeous. And the crazy thing is, what's really important is what happens inside, right? Any church, any sanctuary, any place you worship. The really important thing isn't that building, it's what happens inside it. And yet, some of the most beautiful spiritual, religious buildings across the planet are just breathtaking on the outside. They have been given great care to reflect the beauty of what is happening on the inside. And so if we are in a state where we have neglected the Lord's counsel that this body is a temple, if we've just shoved it aside, we've become disembodied, we just checked out, life is too hard, I can't feel that. I'm not saying that it's easy to shift out of that if you've been in your head, emotionally eating, emotionally binging, and not connected to the body's signals, it may take some time and a great deal of help and grace from the Lord to help you listen again to the signals, to know fullness, to know when to stop, to listen to what it needs, to stop and go to sleep when you need to heal your adrenals, to heal your digestive system. There's so much of this that the Lord could lead us in different directions as we begin to care for and respect this temple. This video's gone on a little longer, but I just am really, I've had my eyes opened to how easy it is to do this in our day and age. Maybe they always have. I don't know. What do you think? Maybe they always have had this temptation throughout time, but we live in a day of so many places we can go mentally to just escape and disembody and check out, because life is hard and we don't want to cope, and we have to just numb out with food. But remember that forgotten middle child. This is the vehicle you will be in for the rest of your days on this earth. And like those sweet people that I saw who were both in their older years, their quality of life was so far down because of that disembodiment, because of that disconnect in caring for what the body needed. The price was so high. The cost was so high. So here's our chance to ask ourselves, where do I sit on this spectrum? And what would the Lord have me do today? Not all of it all at once. It can be a slow healing process. But what would he have me do today to listen and bring that forgotten middle child into the family and give it a little more love, but listen to what it needs and not disconnect our beliefs from our habits. Connect those so that they're congruent and we live in a way that's pleasing to him and that shows we respect the temple that we've been given. Hope that was helpful. I have no idea what we'll talk about next time. We'll see in a couple weeks where I'm at, but for now, I hope that helps. Have a great weekend.